because he is a realtor again. He actually is going to give us some inside information on what you need when it comes down to trying to either rent or own a home. So at this point, we're going to go through a couple of questions. He's going to answer them for us, and he's going to give you his contact information by the end of the video. First question is, would you recommend someone renting or owning a home, and why?
I would always recommend buying, owning your own home. Not just because I'm a real estate agent, but I'm an advocate of home ownership as a whole. It's an investment. Renting is not an investment. And so, when you purchase a house, that property will appreciate over time. Now, you have to ask yourself, how long do you want to stay in that particular property? Okay. So if you just want to rent or just maybe in a house for a year, 2 years, then maybe renting may be better for you. Buying would be better. And like I said before, appreciation, the tax benefits, you can deduct your interest that you pay on your home mortgage every month. There are a couple other things that you will be able to deduct as well. And that's somewhat of a tax shelter for you that you wouldn't be able to receive if you rented a house.
My next question is, before searching for a home, what should a person think about versus budgeting, taxes, HOAs, things like that?
Well, first and foremost, you probably want to, make sure that you are credit worthy. Okay. So you want to, have a mortgage professional pull your credit, or just do an application on you as a whole and to see where you stand. And then once you are pre-approved, and maybe even before pre-approved, you can also have an idea of where you want to live. Okay. So after the pre-approval, think about where you want to live. Think about how much you want to spend, but your pre-approval will actually dictate how much home you can actually afford. And that will determine your home, the price, the purchase price. Okay. And even before that, you may want to, think of, what am I comfortable with paying a month? Yeah. Because you may be pre-approved for a much higher amount than you're comfortable with. And if that's the case, then, you want to have an idea what you're comfortable with, what you're budgeted for. Now, in the pre-approval process, your debt-to-income ratio will be evaluated. Right. And the lender will look at that along with a few other things, and they will determine, that purchase price again. Okay. And a good rule of thumb is, say if you feel comfortable with $1,500 a month, now give or take a few $1,000s, as far as with the property taxes, with the interest rate, right, that'll probably have you in the area of a $160,000, $170,000 home if the taxes aren't too high and the interest rate is not too high. And if the interest rate is a little higher, taxes are a little higher, you may be closer to $150,000. But it could, it could vary a little bit.
Yeah, just depending on what area you in, basically.
Right.
That determines what's going up and what.
Tax rate is going to definitely have the tax rate is going to depend on the area because the different counties have different tax rates. And the insurance for the area, the insurance could be higher in some areas than other areas. So you want to look at that. So say if you're in Brazoria County, they require you to have windstorm coverage. Right. And so that coverage, may add an extra $1,000 to your policy a year. Yes. So which could come out to, $1,000 or $1,200 more a year.
Maybe. My next question is, what is the average credit score an individual should need? Or is it better to have a credit score as a couple when it comes down to trying to own a house? Okay. Or get a mortgage?
So I guess I'll answer that question as an individual. Okay. Because even if you go into it as a couple, married or not, you're going to be critiqued on certain guidelines. Right. Now, you have certain lenders, primarily mortgage brokers, there's some that will do loans as low as 580. Okay. Now, with that 580, you will have different stipulations on your debt to income ratio and possibly other items that you have on your credit report. Now, once you get to the 620, a lot of those stipulations go away. And so 620, 640, and it's your middle score. They will drop your high, drop your low, and they will take the score in the middle, and that's what you will be qualified on.
And so when he's stating that your middle, your first score, your middle score, and your last score, he's referring to like if you have your TransUnion, your Equifax, and your Experian, whichever one is high will be dropped, and whichever one is low will be dropped. They will mainly look at that middle score, and sometimes they look at that score as your FICO score. So that is something that he's referring to right now when it comes down. All right. So our next question is, what type of documentation is needed in order to search for a new home?
Well, for me as a real estate agent, and for most experienced agents and agents overall, that agent is going to require you to have a pre-approval letter. So that's your first step in buying a home, is being pre-approved. It's not, let me go out here and see what's out here before I get pre-approved. I mean, you can look online for that, but most agents will not take you around to look at houses if you have not been pre-approved.
And on the pre-approval letter, what does it state? Like, what is it?
It'll basically state your name, state the amount that you're pre-approved for, and it won't necessarily dictate a property address because it could be to be determined. You'll see a TBA on that, a TBD rather, to be determined. And so you won't need an address at that date, but going out here, you will need to know that. So it would have the lender's information on there, that lender's address, as a standard letterhead with the lender's
main information
along with their ID number and all of that good stuff. And that pre-approval letter needs to ride along with any offer that you choose to place on a house. So even if you find an agent to take you out to look at houses without a pre-approval letter, no seller really will accept an offer from somebody without a pre-approval letter to accompany that offer.
All right. So our next question is, if a person pays a down payment to start building, what happens if they say, you know what, I don't want to build anymore. I want to be out the contract.
So it's not a down payment. That wouldn't be considered a down payment. That would be considered earnest money. So you put earnest money out, so it's basically a deposit. And so that deposit will hold that property. Now, on a resale home, a home that has been built, that's existing already, your realtor would advise you to do an option period, pay money for an option period. And that option period customarily is 10 days, and it's customary that you will pay $10 a day. Now it could be more, and it could be a little less, but $10 a day for 10 days, that gives you the unrestricted right to get out of that contract within those 10 days for whatever reason that you choose. Now within those 10 days as well, you also want to have the home inspected, do all inspections, whether it's a general inspection, termite inspection, and plumbing or whatever else you choose. Your inspections, you most definitely want to do your inspections. But within those 10 days, you get those inspections done and you negotiate. It's another level of negotiation that happens at that point if there are deficiencies found in that house that you want addressed. Now, every home is going to have deficiencies, especially resale homes. Even new constructions have deficiencies. But you have that builder to call on to repair those items.
Like if it's a chip in a wall, something on the floors or something. So you enter into that negotiation process. You ask them to repair this, that, and the other. If they say no, you have a right to get out of that contract within that 10 days. Now the 10 days, you have until 5 o'clock on that 10th day to turn in your termination notice, termination of contract. And then that money will be due back to you if you do it within that time. Now also, to go on that, if you go outside of those 10 days and say, for instance, everything is fine, but your loan falls through, there's a third party
financing addendum that rides along with the contract.
Okay.
And so that will protect your earnest money as well. Now, the amount of time that is protected for will be negotiated within the contract as well. What's customary right now is what I'm seeing, 21 days. I like to ask for 30 days, but most sellers will not grant you 30 days. And if they don't feel offended. But you should not sign for anything under 21 days. You want to be protected for at least 21 days on that.
All right. So our last question is, overall, how do we find the right realtor?
Good question as well. So, in my opinion, the people around you,
Okay.
your peers, your family, you go to them and ask them, you know, about their home buying process,
Yep.
about their experience, you know, what happened, you know, and can they refer someone to you that they use, and is that a person that they would use again?
Wow. Yeah.
And then you can also use other traditional methods of Googling, HAR.com, Zillow.com, TrueYourRealtor.com. And most realtors you will find on all of those sites at some point in time. Now for myself, I can be found that way, or you can just take down my information at the end of this interview.
All right, guys, so that's the end of this interview, and at this point of time, we're going to give the contact information for this realtor right here. Again, you can find him in any surrounding area, whether it's Houston, Brazoria County, Fort Bend, Sugar Land. Even if you want to go on the north side of Houston, of the Woodlands, Spring, Humble, wherever you want to go in Texas at this point, this guy can get you there to have the American dream. His contact information is?
Okay, my phone number is 713-459-7238.
Okay.
And my web address is www.stellysaleshomes.com. So that's STELLYSELLS homes, HOMES.com. And also I can be found on Facebook, Andre Stelly, and I also have a real estate page, Stelly Sales Homes, and also on Instagram, I am Andre_Stelly_Realtor.
All right, so that's all his contact information. Again, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you have any comments or you want to ask us any questions, drop them below or inboxes. Also, this is another end of Just Ask Andy. Contact us if you have any questions. Your question is never too small. Thank you guys. This is the end of this interview.